entrepreneurs who decided that they would actually share their stories with other individuals. For those of you who weren't here, they started by sharing all of their leads and the commissions that came from the sales of those leads with our coaches. And an interesting thing happened. We had coaches who would join and they would enroll an adult member of their household, a spouse, for example, and then a father or mother or adult child, they become an emerald. And then they stop because they started seeing commission checks come in. In some cases, we had emeralds earning $60,000 in commissions generated almost entirely on air by the success that Carl and John had created on the infomercials. Obviously, that wasn't sustainable, right? So, in the summer of 2009, before I got here, that ended. And for a time, we struggled. And then, not far from here, about a mile away, we brought leaders together and introduced the game plan. 10 steps to help people understand what they had to do in order to be successful in building an organic Beachbody business. That was received with much enthusiasm given the challenges that the coaches had had over the previous 6 months. And the game plan became an enabler for great individuals who had the initiative and the creativity to figure out what it meant to do 2 exposures a day. Really, and that was at the center of it. As we saw success happening through the game plan, we began to focus in on that. How do we get the game plan out in front of more people? How do we teach more people about the game plan? Because we saw lights come on in coaches' eyes as they caught the vision of what was possible. We did more and more game plans. We hired regional directors so we could accelerate the training and get more training in smaller pockets of coach development, find pockets of growth, and get the game plan training to them sooner so that we could accelerate growth in our organizations, right? And then we realized that the vital behavior, we had 10 steps. None of those steps mattered unless individuals engaged in the vital behavior. And the vital behavior at that time we called exposures, doing 2 exposures every day. We were fortunate that most people interpreted the word exposure properly. But understanding there was room for interpretation, about 8 months ago, we came and redefined it, right? We said, if that's the core behavior, if that's the vital behavior, let's get better at focusing on it. And let's be super clear in our communication what's involved in doing 2 exposures every day. So we came back with a revamped, simplified game plan, right? Instead of 10 steps, we refined it to 6 core steps. But we took 2 exposures today and we actually expanded that. And we introduced the idea of the sharing cycle. So understanding that in order to do 2 exposures a day, you needed to have a list. You needed to find people and put those individuals on a list, right? From that list, 2 exposures really means invite 2 people every day to watch, listen, or attend something, right? We said do 2 shares a day. That's inaccurate. We need to clean that language. What we really mean is extend 2 invitations a day. That's will you invitations. Will you watch this? Will you attend this? Will you listen to me, right? That is the vital behavior. And then, when they say yes, have the ability to share with them. What do you share? You should share success stories. Hopefully you're keeping books of success. Right? The foundation of our company is our ability to generate and retell success stories, and you have the same responsibility in your organizations to teach new coaches that as they see success in their organization, they need to document that success and begin to share it. The more I talk to coaches, especially coaches who are on success online, that's what you're going to say. finally got some of you with me, I can tell. Now you're awake. Much of that success is due to their ability to tell the stories and share with our prospects our commitment to them, right? We share a lot of information with them. Often we don't teach our coaches to share our commitment with them. You know, I remember Todd Ninja telling me, and I asked him how he had success in converting many of the members of his fit club. And he said, you know, I'd go up to them and I'd touch them on the shoulders and say, I just want you to know I'm committed to your success. I'm not going to let you fail. I'm going to be here for you, right? We don't share that enough. And then once we've shared all the information they need and the emotional experience they need to make the decision and commit to a fitness program or to coaching, we then become good sponsors. We argued over whether that last step should be enroll, which is an action, or sponsor, which is a commitment. And we chose sponsor, right? Because sponsor includes enrollment, includes making sure they have what they need to succeed. Gotta be careful here. And that we then stay with them until they accomplish or meet their goals. So that was introduced. Now we find ourselves at an interesting stage in the company's history. We have in this room individual success stories. You're here because you are entrepreneurs in the best sense of the word. You have the ability, the innovation, you have the energy to fight through, to figure out what we mean by invite, what to invite people to, right? You figured it out for yourself, and many of you are trying to teach them. The challenge that we have is it's clear that our vision is broader than the success we've had to date, right? We have maybe reached 1% of our potential, maybe. And if we're going to have success, we need to continue to refine that vital behavior so that someone with less ingenuity, with less personal capability, someone with not quite the confidence that you have, can succeed. We need to find a model that will enable generations of entrepreneurs to engage in our mission and to help other individuals achieve their goals, right? Yeah. So today, we further refine the teaching around vital behaviors and provide for those of you who choose to employ this in your business a model that can be duplicated over and over and over again. And just like the game plan, I suspect that we're not done with this model, because as you deploy it, we'll get learning, and together we'll continue to perfect it until we become the best in the world at helping people achieve their goals, both physically and financially. Okay? That's what we're about. So let's start the case study. I want to introduce to you the antagonist. If I can get my slide on the stage. The next slide, I see. There we go. Here's the antagonist, right? You recognize him? This is where it began. Or so they say. I don't want to slander McDonald's. They have a lot of attorneys. It's not McDonald's per se. It's the idea of fast food, but really fast food began with two brothers. I'll tell you their story today. These babies have been wildly successful. In fact, they used to have a guy who counted them. When they stopped counting, they served over 99 billion hamburgers around the world. Estimates today, 300 plus billion. Right? If I had Mike and Lehman up here eating a hamburger every 5 minutes, it would take him 2 million years. That would be interesting to see. To eat 99 billion. Now, let's imagine a world, if we're going to end the trend of obesity, let's imagine a world where we have a sign that we post out in front of our homes of Shakeology servings, right? And someday we have 99 billion servings of Shakeology. We'd make a bit of a dent, perhaps, right? Can you see that? So, if we're going to get there, let's follow a case study that's been wildly successful. If you ask them what makes McDonald's success, you'd be told there are 3 keys. Don't write this down. Location, location, location. McDonald's in Times Square. Pretty good location. You think they're going to do okay? Absolutely. The only reason, though, that McDonald's is successful today when put in the right location is because of work that was done on a tennis court by Dick and Mac McDonald's in the late 40s. They actually moved to Southern California from New Hampshire in the 40s. They moved not far from where Tracy Moore lives today. They settled there and opened a hot dog stand. They were into health food from the very beginning. They heard about a guy named Carl, not Carl Deichler, but Carl Karchner, who was not far from here in Anaheim, had a place called Carl's Drive-Up Barbecue. That was the fad back then. You'd park your car, you'd have these beautiful young ladies come to the side of your car, they'd take your order, they'd skate back in and get your order fulfilled, and then they'd come back and serve. They said, that is fantastic. We can do better. We're going to open one of these drive-ups. So they moved their hamburger stand further east, down to 210 to San Bernardino, and opened McDonald's famous barbecue. And they followed the same model with young women coming to the car and serving, and they were wildly successful. They had over $200,000 in sales, which at that time was a lot of money coming from their single barbecue drive-up stand. But they noticed that they had topped out their sales. They no longer had capacity. Their lunchtime crowd was full. Their dinner crowd was full. The only way to expand would be to open new stores or increase the size of their parking lot. Neither were of interest or an option to them. And one day they started looking at their numbers, and Dick realized, do you know, Mac, that 80% of our sales come from hamburgers alone? They thought, wow, why do we have 30 items on our menu when most of our sales come from hamburgers? If you're going to buy a hamburger, what do you need? You need a milkshake, you need soda, and you need French fries. So let's get super good at delivering those at the lowest price with the highest quality and the fastest service. So this is their actual home. I'm not sure which one, Dick or Mac, but on this very tennis court, they sat and used chalk to draw out what their store would look like that would deliver hamburgers, French fries, and a shake. They thought they had it figured out in pretty much the same configuration that they were in with a drive-up window concept, and it rained, and everything washed away, which was a fortunate thing for them, because that's when they rethought their business entirely. In October of that year, they closed their drive-up, and they opened McDonald's famous hamburgers. Hamburgers now, instead of 50 cents, were 15 cents. And instead of having young, beautiful women driving up to the car, skate up to the car, they hired clunky teenage boys and put them behind the scenes in a very rigid system. They knew exactly how thin the hamburger should be. They knew exactly how many pickles and where they should be placed. They created a way to make sure they couldn't put more ketchup and mustard on the hamburger than they should. They designed a way to make sure that the fries cook only the right amount of time to be crispy, but not too long to be black, right? And they found these 5 mixer milkshake machines. So instead of mixing one at a time, they could mix 5 at a time. And they turned the operation into a process, into a model that could be duplicated over and over again. You'd think that that was wildly successful. Mac turned to Dick and must have clobbered him beside the head come February of that year, because when they opened in December, it looked like this. Their wildly successful drive-up hamburgers or barbecue store was empty. No one wanted hamburgers delivered to a window. They wanted somebody to skate up to the side of their car. And they had to start from scratch, convincing family and then friends to give them a try. Fortunately, they delivered high-quality product over and over and over again, faster than any restaurant in town. And at only 15 cents per hamburger, more and more individuals gave them a try. They had good experiences. The experience they had the first time was equally as good when they came the second time and the third time, and they became very predictable. It was very cheap. It was very fast, and before you knew it, McDonald's had a line outside, standing, people outside of their cars, standing in front of a window, picking up their food. And it grew and grew and grew, and they saw their sales that had plateaued at 200,000 grow to over 300,000 in that store. And then visited a man, not a young man, a 52-year-old man, who had been in the milkshake sales business for quite a while. 52-year-old Ray Kroc visited Dick and Mac McDonald and said, "I've been in a lot of restaurants. I've never seen anything like what you've created. You've created more than a business. What you've created is a money machine. And I want to duplicate that around the world." Dick and Mac had let a couple people do something similar to them and use what they defined as the speedy service system. They didn't like franchising. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. So they gave the rights to the ability to franchise their concept to this gentleman, and a 52 years old Ray Kroc went about perfecting the model so that he could then hand it off from one entrepreneur to the next entrepreneur to the next entrepreneur. And the story, as you can imagine, they began to grow. First in Illinois, then they began to spread throughout the Midwest, and McDonald's became a legendary story. Their success, they own one of every $10 spent on fast food in America is spent at a McDonald's, right? If you own one of their stores, you're successful. According to Michael Gerber, who's the author of Eat Myths Revisited, he said, Ray Kroc created more, much more, than a fantastically successful business. He created a model upon which an entire generation of entrepreneurs have since built their fortunes. A model upon which an entire generation of entrepreneurs have since built their fortune. A model that was the genesis of the franchise phenomenon. You remember Carl Karchner and the Carl's Famous Barbecue? That's Carl's Jr. He followed. He copied them. Then Burger King, then Pizza Hut, then Taco Bell, and on and on and on, right? Job security for us. If you own a McDonald's franchise today, if you're one of the lucky few entrepreneurs, it's going to require millions to get in the door in capital, but you'll generate $2 million on average per store, and you'll pocket $350,000 per store per year. And you'll create for yourself a significant asset over time. So the question is, if we're going to end the trend, how do we create a model upon which generations of entrepreneurs can build their fortune? That's what we're about. That's what we've been trying to figure out. That's what we're here to start to experiment with and to get your help in engaging us with, so that the wealth opportunity which Beachbody is better than the wealth opportunity if you're a McDonald's franchisee, right? Do you understand that? We have to be better than them if we're going to beat them. We can't be pretty good. We can't be almost as good. We have to be better. We have done what it takes to move from being an average network marketing company to a good network marketing company. Great network marketing companies have systems that every new distributor follow as they enter the business. There's no question what they do. They know exactly what to do. There's never any doubt. New coaches don't come in and say, what do I use? What do I invite people to? Should I do a fit club? Should I do an in-home? Should I build online? What should I do? They take out the guesswork. They make it simple enough that a teenage boy can be in the back running the business, right? Because it's not about the personal ingenuity, it's about the system, the model. Does that make sense? So that makes you a great network marketing company. What we're introducing today can turn us into 100 million-ish, 200, 300, 400, 500 million-ish company to $1 billion, $1.5 billion as we grow internationally, an $8 to $10 billion company. But we're going to tweak it. We're going to create some natural progression into this. We're going to put some discipline in the process. Unlike other network marketing companies who ask new distributors to start distributing a product before they've had an opportunity to fall in love with the product, we're going to create a natural progression and give an individual a chance to date our product, to have a romance with our product, right? To fall in love with our product so that they can naturally become great coaches and share their experience. We're going to give them the opportunity to have the experience that many, if not most of you, statistically, most of you in this room had that experience. You first fell in love with our products, and then you became a coach. Network marketing companies have been relatively successful because they've reached about 5% of the population, right? $28 billion in the U.S. is 1/10 the size of Walmart alone. We don't even show up on an industry basis. If you look at all of the direct sales companies in the industry, we don't even show up on the retail sales graph of the United States. And yet, you've got all these books talking about direct selling as being the end-all, be-all, right? The future. Guess what? That nuance, that discipline, the ability to allow individuals to first fall in love with the product will allow us to expand beyond the 5% of the population that has been the cap on direct selling in the past. And we can grow to become the largest direct selling company in the world. We can break the mold. We can break the $10 billion barrier. We can break the $20 billion barrier. If we're going to end the trend, we've got to break the $40 billion barrier because that's where McDonald's is. Our vision has to expand. We have to grow beyond what other companies have done. We can't do what other companies have done and expect to be where we need to be, right? You catch our vision? You understand where we want to go? So hopefully it begins here. We need a system that the newest coaches will find simple to follow. One that can lead a new coach to Success Club and at least $500 in earnings in their first 2 months. We need to get money to new coaches faster. And we need that system to be not only consistent with our culture, but consistent with human nature and allow them to romance our products before we ask them to be evangelists for it. So, based on that criteria, we ask the question, what are our current growers doing? And then we further refine that question to ask that can be duplicated. Carl Karchner had created a successful barbecue drive-up, but it was too dependent upon too many variables to be scaled and sent out to entrepreneurs around the world. It took the refinements made by Mac and Dick to create the fast food model that then could not just be successful in a single location by individuals who had tremendous drive and passion, but it could be duplicated over and over and over again, no matter the language, no matter the skill set, no matter the education base, no matter the previous experience of those individuals who wanted to become entrepreneurs and be successful in that business. And based upon that learning, we're introducing under the umbrella of the Beachbody Challenge what we think can be a very simple, duplicatable system that fits squarely within the sharing cycle. Now, the Beachbody Challenge, what's a challenge? A challenge is an effort to help somebody change their life. Broadly, it could be applied to stop smoking, for example. We apply it to getting healthy and fit. Your goal is to lose weight, let me challenge you to do that. Your goal is to get more bulk, let me challenge you to do that. Your goal is just to get healthier, let me challenge you to do that. You want balance, let me challenge you to do that. You want to eat right, let me give you a product or service and challenge you over the next 21 days, 30 days, 6 weeks, 90 days, 7 days to go through this program and to accomplish your goal, right? So let's be really broad the way we think about a challenge. It used to be a contest. The contest now is a component part of the challenge. We provide contests to provide incentives and to make it fun and to keep people engaged in the process. Sometimes it's not easy, so we want to make it fun. We introduced, with your help, challenge groups. Groups of 5 individuals to help an individual change their life, to provide daily support, accountability to those who are engaged in a challenge. If you're a new coach, we're going to challenge you. We're going to put you in a challenge group to change your life, to engage in the game plan, to do something different. We're going to put you in a group of 5 other coaches. We're going to challenge you, right? If you want to do P90X, we're going to put you in a challenge group. And then we're going to give you the support of a coach who's going to mentor and work with this challenge group. The challenges group is going to do a lot of the work. The coach is going to seed. You're sore? Really? Are you taking results in recovery? Right? Your challenge is almost over. What are you going to do next? You've done P90X. It's time for P90X2. Why didn't you, as a group, stay together and do P90X2, right? And then insanity, right? And then asylum. Okay. And then as a company, we're going to provide packs and programs to help individuals be successful. How does it look? Well, all new coaches, we tell them to find and create a list and invite. What do they invite? They invite individuals to take the Beachbody Challenge. I've been doing a P90X Beachbody Challenge. Come take the challenge. Be in my P90X group. I'm only taking 5 people. The first 5 I'm going to take, right? Come be in my Insanity Challenge group. Come take the Beachbody Challenge. When they're through the challenge, we hope that they'll choose 1 of 2 paths, that group will stay together into the next challenge. They'll move from Power 90, which I hope you'll sell more of, as you can see now the opportunity to progress individuals, right? They'll start with Power 90. You'll give them a break with 10-minute trainer for 30 days. You'll then bring them back to P90X for 90 days. You'll give them a break. You'll come back with P90X2. You'll come back with Insanity. You see, by that time, we'll have pump and, right? And when they're old, we'll give them Tai Chi. So, when they're my age, many of them, in fact, we hope that a majority of them, when they fall in love, when they have success, when they have the first person ask them, what in the world are you doing? They'll make a natural decision, and that decision could be made in 24 hours. It could be made in a week. It could be made in several weeks. It could be made 6 programs down the line, but at some point they'll make the decision to become a coach. And you'll put them in a challenge group because they're making a decision to change their life, to do something together. And what will that challenge group do? Well, they'll all start over to invite individuals to participate in the Beachbody Challenge, right? It's a circular process. It's on-the-job training. Everybody does the same thing, right? There's no question. How do you invite? You can do it online. You can do it on Facebook. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it at the end of a fit club. You can do it in your home. It doesn't matter. But the idea is your goal is to get people into the challenge. It fits in the game plan. Our finding activities are all centered around the question of who do you know who would like to take the Beachbody Challenge. we always ask that question. Who do you know? I'm doing a Beachbody challenge. It's a P90X challenge. It's a Slim and 6 challenge. It's a Shakeology challenge. Who do you know that will want to take this challenge with me? I'm just looking for 5 people. When we find those individuals, we ask them, we invite them if they'd like to take the Beachbody challenge. If they don't know what it is, they need more information, we share with them the new challenge video, which we'll show you later this afternoon. We share with them the video.
There's a video?
There's a video. We have to have a video, right? We explain to them the challenge group requirements, which is to have a fitness program, to replace a meal every day with Shakeology, and to be part of club, right? And every day to engage in the group, which is typically organized in a private group in Facebook, okay? And we share success stories to increase their confidence that they can do it. We tell them our own story or the stories of others that you've had in success groups. And then finally, we share with them our commitment to help them. And finally, we sponsor them. That means we help them place their orders to make sure they have the products that they need. We set them up in a private Facebook group. We make sure that they pledge and qualify to win the Beachbody Challenge prizes. They go online and they pledge. And then we coach them and ask them weekly for accountability and give them help daily on Facebook. Does that make sense? It's nothing new. It's part of the game plan. It's something in our DNA. It's something natural. Now, we've created some packs. We've made this simple for you. And I want to bring on the stage now the man behind this who's been really pushing this through the back end. He's done a great job of making this so it's much simpler for you. Please welcome to the stage our promoted and now Senior Vice President of Marketing in the network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Michael Neiman.